all good things must come to an end. Not only did Caitlin Clark take over Chicago, Indiana Fever fans and Caitlin Clark fans took over Chicago.
This is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money.
Angel Reese just hit her limit, and it all went down when Caitlin Clark got treated like royalty right in Reese's own city. Fans went wild, chanting, chasing, showing love like Clark was MJ himself. And Angel? She was left watching it all unfold, tight-lipped and heated. This is more than a rivalry anymore, it's personal and it's blowing up fast. See, this is exactly why sometimes you just have to mind your business and stay in your lane. Because when you bark up the wrong tree, it might just fall and crush your whole moment. And that's exactly what happened when Caitlin Clark showed up in Angel Reese's city and flipped the vibe like a tornado in heels.
Caitlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city over. It looked like she took the city over.
This wasn't just any game. This was Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky in late July 2025. And let's just be honest, Caitlin Clark didn't just show up to Chicago, she owned it. The moment was electric. The headlines didn't lie. Come to your trap, take over your trap. That line wasn't just catchy anymore, it hit differently now. Because Clark did exactly that. She walked into Chicago and made it hers.
With all new WWE merchandise, Sky jerseys, and teams anymore. We've got something.
There were fans swarming her like she was MJ in his prime. You had people in jerseys sprinting down staircases just to get a glimpse. Some were yelling, shaking posters, phones in the air. One fan even came down from the nosebleeds with a bloody nose, begging for an autograph. You can't fake that kind of hype.
I don't know how you could ever imagine, how can you compete with this?
And this wasn't some PR stunt. There weren't any interns being paid to cheer. These were real fans standing in line, waiting up to 3 hours just to get Caitlin's signature. No VIP access, no shortcuts. People came out because they wanted to, because Caitlin Clark has that pull. That gravitational kind of star power you just don't see often. Not in this league, not like this.
You don't have as many followers you have on Instagram. That is great. I will not take away from the fact that you are one of the bigger brands in the WNBA. You are a star in your own right, but you are not Caitlin Clark. It's a difference.
Meanwhile, where was Angel Reese? Just a few weeks ago, she was the Reebok queen. All-Star Weekend in Indiana, she owned it. Posters everywhere, promo campaigns. That trap energy was hers then. But fast forward just a few days and it felt like the spotlight turned fast. While Caitlin was drowning in love in her city, Angel was barely getting noticed in her own. And that stung.
Ice Cube's literally saying, we sat down, looked at the actual figures, and the draw wasn't there. The fever wasn't there. Oh, no pun intended.
Reports came out that during Caitlin's Chicago takeover, Angel had to rely on staged promo shoots, photos with extras dressed as fans to recreate the feel of support. People started to notice. Social media picked it apart. They compared it to Clark's real crowd, raw, loud, and impossible to ignore.
I don't know how you could ever imagine, how can you compete with this?
Then came the footage. After the game, Angel Reese leaving the court in tears. Not just a little emotional, shaken. Whether she said anything or not, her body language told the story. The energy had shifted. Her city didn't feel like hers anymore. And the fans felt it too. That queen of the court presence? It looked rattled. Because how do you compete when the person you've been positioned against walks into your hometown and gets treated like a legend? It's deeper than just basketball. This was about respect, narrative, and public love. People online ran with it. The memes, the comparisons, the hashtags. Queen of the Rack, Hatch Trap Taken, Hash Special Treatment. They were brutal, but they weren't lying. Clark didn't just beat her on the court, she took over the moment.
Angel Reese was not going to be able to bring in the amount of eyes for the sponsors and for the league for him to justify that offer.
And this is where things start to burn. Because Angel's been trying to carve her own lane, but no matter what she does, she keeps getting tied to Caitlin. It's a rivalry that blew up since college, and it's now grown into a public measuring stick. Every single time they share a court, it becomes Angel versus Caitlin. Not Chicago versus Indiana, not Sky versus Fever, but these two women caught in the middle of a spotlight neither of them fully asked for.
Come on, just leave it alone, Angel. And this is why I'm saying you be making yourself look crazy, because in all actuality, there's no comparison between you guys.
But in this case, Caitlin Clark didn't chase the spotlight. It followed her. It stormed the United Center. It screamed her name. It threw up posters with her face on them. While Angel Reese quietly exited stage left, probably wondering how it all flipped so fast. It's hard to watch if you've been rooting for Reese, because she's not talentless, she's not irrelevant, but in this moment, she just wasn't Caitlin Clark, and the city made that clear.
It's like nobody can be honest. They have to say exactly what y'all want them to say. That's what it seems like.
Wow, I'm not sure any other single, outside of just the pure numbers that we keep showing people, literal numbers.
And let's be real, Angel wasn't crazy for saying it. At that point, Clark was getting a level of treatment that felt different. She was headlining everything, top of the merch charts. Every game she played was either sold out or televised. When she touched the ball, the arena buzzed. She had that aura. But the real question people started asking was Angel Reese punished because of what she did or because of who she did it to? And just when things started to cool down, here comes Ice Cube with a whole new gasoline can. Let's talk about it.
They didn't tell us the same thing about Angel Reese.
So Ice Cube, yes, that Ice Cube, the rapper, actor, and founder of the Big Three Basketball League, comes out of nowhere with a $5 million offer for Caitlin Clark to join the Big Three, to play in a half-court league. Off-season work, no pressure, get your bag and go home. Clark said, thanks, but no thanks. Respectfully declined, and boom, back to the regular WNBA schedule. But that opened up a whole new can of drama, because once the offer became public, people started asking, hold up, what about Angel Reese?
You just gotta understand your place sometime. Look, they talking about Caitlin Clark took over Angel Reese's trap. See, this is why you don't need to keep trying to take shots at her. She took the city over.
Was she getting the same bag? Was Cube gonna cut the same check?
This is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors.
And Ice Cube? He didn't sugarcoat a thing. He straight up said, with Caitlin Clark, we saw millions unlocked. That wasn't the case with Angel. Business is business. And Angel? She just didn't move the needle the way Clark did. No disrespect, no shade. But that statement hit hard. And once again, Reese was pulled into a headline she didn't create. She didn't even ask for the offer. But suddenly, her market value was being debated on national platforms, and she didn't get a say in any of it.
You need to stop trying to attach yourself to this girl at every turn, because she has officially come to your trap and taken over your trap.
What made it worse? The timing. All this talk came right after Clark dominated the Chicago game and Reese walked off the court in tears. So now, it wasn't just that she lost the game, she was also losing the PR battle, the branding war, and apparently, the bag. It was personal and public at the same time.
Angel Reese was not going to be able to bring in the amount of eyes for the sponsors and for the league for him to justify that offer.
Ice Cube didn't backtrack. He doubled down later in interviews saying, I'm not in the business of losing money. And honestly, that's what this all boils down to, business. Reese may be a star, but Clark is a spectacle. She's not just winning games, she's changing TV deals, boosting ticket sales, breaking viewership records. And the powers that be, they're watching that closely.
Nobody can be honest. They have to say exactly what y'all want them to say. That's what it seems like.
So whether it's fouls, fanfare, or $5 million contracts, Caitlin Clark is at the center. And Angel Reese, she keeps getting pulled into the storm.
I mean, outside of the fact you can't even get half the amount of people inside a LSU arena.
Let's talk about the part of this story that had the internet going absolutely feral. The fan war, the hashtags, the chaos. Social media was throwing elbows harder than a playoff game in Detroit. And at the center of it, Angel Reese watching her so-called trap get hijacked in broad daylight by Caitlin Clark.
CC with MJ. CC get treated like MJ in the rack. Oh my God.
You saw the footage. Everyone did. Caitlin Clark touched down in Chicago during All-Star Weekend and turned the city into a personal highlight reel. People were running to her like she was MJ, Derrick Rose, and Chief Keef all wrapped in one. It was pandemonium. Fans chasing autographs like she was handing out winning lottery tickets. One dude literally sprinted from the nosebleeds screaming her name with a bloody nose. That's not a metaphor. His actual nose was leaking.
You don't have as many followers you have on Instagram. That is great. I will not take away from the fact that you are one of the bigger brands in the WNBA. You are a star in your own right, but you are not Caitlin Clark. It's a difference.
And that's when the whole Trap Queen versus America's Sweetheart narrative exploded. People weren't just comparing game. They were comparing crowds, clout, cities. You had locals in Chicago saying, "She came to your city and made it hers." That stings, because this was supposed to be Angel's turf. Her moment. But instead of headlines reading Reese takes over All-Star, it was all Clark steals the show again. And the backlash? Oof. Angel tried to stay calm on socials, posting some vague captions, cryptic vibes, maybe a side selfie with a Drake lyric in italics. You know, classic, "I'm unbothered but I'm definitely watching" energy. But fans weren't buying it. The comment sections got messy. She pressed? She shook? She ducking? All over the place.
We get to be a dog and get to that platform where you get to bring a national title, the first one back to LSU, without having that type of mentality, that chip on your shoulder. And I feel like we have to let these young women be unapologetically themselves.
But what made things worse, way worse, was the timing. Because Caitlin Clark wasn't just winning fans, she was winning over sponsors, networks, the entire WNBA machine. And Angel's absence from key games, that just made it easier for people to connect the dots. Wait, is she injured, or is she just avoiding the side-by-side comparison?
So Ice Cube's literally saying, we sat down, looked at the actual figures, and the draw wasn't there. The fever wasn't there. Oh, no pun intended.
That was the conspiracy that took off fast. Fans started asking, is Angel Reese intentionally skipping games when Caitlin Clark's out, just so she doesn't get caught in the ratings fallout? Because let's be real, ABC doesn't air WNBA games just for fun. They air them when they know millions are gonna tune in, and most of those millions, they're tuning in for Clark.
Ice Cube is not in the business of losing money, so of course Angel Reese couldn't get offered the 5 M's like Caitlin Clark.
Now throw in Ice Cube's interview, and it's like salt on a fresh bruise. The man literally said, "They told us Caitlin would bring in millions." They didn't say that about Angel. Sponsors heard that loud and clear. If Cube's not offering a bag, not even half the offer, why would Gatorade, Nike, or anyone else keep writing checks? So now you've got Angel Reese, one of the most marketable names in the WNBA, watching the momentum shift and not in her favor. And that hurts because let's not forget, she put in work, she built a brand, she brought personality to a league that desperately needed it. But here's the trap she fell into. And it's not the one she meant to take over. She got stuck in reaction mode, constantly being compared to Caitlin Clark, and constantly feeding into it. Every time she clapped back, posted a cryptic caption, or made a comment that sounded like a dig, the narrative got tighter around her neck. And the sad part, she doesn't need that storyline anymore. Because here's what the smart people are saying. Shout out to Keep the Vision for this one. Angel, you good enough to stand on your own, so why don't you?
What should have been a massive, huge day for your sponsors and for your networks.
Facts. She's not some rookie getting lucky. She's a legit starter, improving every week with real skills and real presence. She doesn't have to chase Caitlin's shadow. She doesn't have to play the villain in somebody else's fairy tale. But if she keeps letting her brand revolve around one rivalry, then yeah, she's gonna keep losing ground, on and off the court. So the question now is simple. Does Angel Reese want to be known for her game or her grudge? Because Clark's not slowing down, she's not backing off, she's not even looking sideways. She's out here moving like a machine, putting up numbers, drawing fans, and changing the league one sold-out arena at a time. Meanwhile, Reese is still stuck in a loop, trying to prove something that maybe she doesn't even need to prove anymore. Hit that subscribe button for more unfiltered sports truth, where hype ends and facts begin.